Welcome to a gut puncher episode of the O Patrol HQ podcast, where we cut through the bureaucratic BS and get real about border enforcement and the betrayal happening right under our noses. I'm your host, Gil Mazza, Class 313 out of San Diego Sector. Today, we're pulling out all the stops and diving deep into the mess that's crippling our immigration system. Joining me is Joel Maldonado, retired supervisor, 28 years as a Border Patrol agent on the southwest border, instructor in immigration law, and the author of the eye-opening book, The Binding Oath, A Border Patrol Journey and the Mayorkas Effect. Joel and I are not here to sugarcoat. We're here to expose the rot from within. Our immigration enforcement agencies, Border Patrol, ICE, DHS, are in a sorry state, riddled with entrenched cronyism and a dogmatic adherence to outdated institutional knowledge that's more about protecting careers than protecting the country. These insiders cling to their power structures, sabotaging anyone who dares to actually enforce the laws we voted for. And let's talk about the elephant in the room, their flat-out reluctance to touch 8 U.S.C. 1324s. Why? Because it would mean holding employers, sanctuaries, and enablers accountable, disrupting the status quo that's been flooding our communities for decades. This isn't just inefficiency, it's a hostage situation. Millions of Americans voted overwhelmingly for across-the-board immigration enforcement, secure borders, interior removals, no more catch-and-release games. But these agencies, foot-dragging and internal politics are holding us all captive, turning our votes into vapor while the chaos continues. And no story illustrates this betrayal better than what happened to Gregory Bovino. As Border Patrol's commander-at-large, Greg was out there doing the job, leading crackdowns in cities like Chicago, Charlotte, New Orleans, and Minneapolis, enforcing the laws with the aggression we demanded. He became an American icon of law and order for hitting back at critics and getting results and shedding light on the inefficiency and cronyism in today's immigration enforcement agencies. But from day one, he never had a chance. The insiders, the crony networks, jealous of his direct line to leadership, sabotaged him from the inside. It's not radicals on the outside, it's the entrenched elite on the inside who can't stand anyone bypassing their chain of command to deliver what the people want. Joel and I are breaking it all down. The myths about agent authority, the dirty secret ICE doesn't want you knowing, like their hands-off approach to basic violations under 1324, and how we smash through this wall of resistance. No half-truths, no excuses, just the unfiltered facts. Stick around. This one's gonna burn. Good morning, Joel, and welcome to the O Patrol HQ podcast.
Hey, I've been looking forward to this, Gil.
I can't even understand why you're even saying that.
Oh man, I think we're going to cover a lot of things that many people have questions about. So I'm looking forward to it, my man. And it's always good to just talk to you.
That's always good to get together, man. It's always a good conversation. But today is going to be the conversation. Because there's stuff going on. I mean, shouldn't we be happy, Joel? I mean, look, border secure, most secure border in pretty much the history of the country. The spigot has been shut down. Okay. All these things going on, Trump doing good things with the economy, all that kind of stuff. Shouldn't we just kind of just shut up and enjoy and just take what we can get when it comes to immigration enforcement?
Oh, the problem is that because of the last 4 years, people have come to believe that is the status quo. But people don't understand that enforcing immigration law and all these things is nobody likes to how the sausage is made. Everybody loves the sausage, but nobody likes how it's made. And that's what a lot of people are seeing is how it's made. And it has to be done.
Now, one of the biggest questions that I see, like even Tom Homan got asked this before, is like, what got us to this point? And of course, everybody has their opinion on what got us to this point. But I want to backtrack a little bit and start from the beginning. We already know what happened in the Biden administration. The greatest and deadliest taxpayer-funded illegal alien invasion and border security breach in the history of our country, right? And even Tom Homan said yesterday, and he's right, even though saying that there was only 2 million gotaways in 4 years, I mean, nobody believes that, but let's put that aside. But he says he's concerned about what's still in this country. Okay, so we got that, right? We know what happened then, but let's talk about the progress that the Trump administration has made from inauguration till today. What's your take on that?
Okay, well, there's no question. Let that be known to all your viewers, Gil, is that the men and women of ICE and Border Patrol and everyone out there working behind the scenes are doing an outstanding job. That is never questioned here. We are so proud. I've never been so proud to have been a part of this, and especially after the 4 years, and I left in just because my conscience was being violated on a daily basis. So now it's good to see that and the progress. All you have to do is enforce the laws, even halfway, and you see the what we can do. So let's get that straight from the very get. Now, can we do more? Well, all we have to do is just enforce the laws that are on in the books. And why are we being so apologetic about it? No, I love everything that Tom Homan is doing and saying, but you got to read in between the lines. Like when they say these are targeted operations, these are targeted raids, and what they mean by that is that they already know who they're going to go get, and it's criminals and everything. I have no problem with that because that is what we should be going after first and foremost. However, it almost seems like they're apologizing about it. Like, don't worry if you're here illegally, we're not targeting you. You got to read in between the lines. Even though yesterday he said the right things and said that no one is off the table. But when you say targeting, it just kind of confuses people like me that are in the know. What do you think about that, Gil?
Well, let's get back to, yes, Tom Homan, everybody knows that he's a target enforcement guy, right? That's his bread and butter. That's what he does. But I do want to get back to the idea that, you know what, I do not pay enough attention or give enough credit to the fact that Michael Banks is a stand-up guy. And yes, the guys over there on the border are still tracking out groups, catching loads on the freeways, like, freaking, street, like better than canines. I mean, these guys are out there still doing the job. There is no doubt about it. So need to put credit where credit is due. These guys are out there still doing their job and doing a damn good job of buttoning down a border that simply through executive order, Donald Trump was able to rein in and bring under control. There is that. But that's the point, see. And people are going to take this, Joel, as us attacking Rodney Scott, Tom Homan, institutions in the Border Patrol, in ICE, throughout all law enforcement, right? All these things. But really, it's got nothing to do with that. What my issue is are they still, after all these decades, the right men for this job? Right? Now, I practically made, Rodney Scott a god through my post, I made him a coin. I idolized the man because I thought, Joel, that enforcement peaked at Rodney Scott. But then somehow, some way, the most unexpected thing happened the first year of this administration. What do you think that is?
Well,
I'm not going to
I
make you
don't.
guess. It's Bovino. Okay.
Well, that goes without saying. Bovino is just doing what we are authorized to do,
But let's back
Gil.
up a little, bit though. So out of nowhere, right? Uh,
Mhm.
Christy Nome gets the mandate or whatever it was she got, and somehow she felt or believed that bringing in, an unknown salty SOB out of El Centro, right, to
Mhm.
come in, and all of a sudden we see this guy everywhere out
Uh-huh.
on the streets doing enforcement. And the funny thing, right, Joel, is that everybody thinks that the Border Patrol was created to simply work the border. They're supposed to be
Right.
stuck on the border, north or south. not understanding that up until 2003, we had jurisdiction of interior enforcement that entire time. And in the last, what got us here, Joel? What got us here is 40 years, 50 years of us backing off and backing off and backing off and backing off and saying, once they get past the border, leave them alone.
Well, that's exactly my point. That's what I'm saying, that we've gotten complacent where even people that are hard chargers like Rodney Scott and Tom Holman, even they, it seems, are very tiptoeing politically around it, even though they're great stand-up people. I mean, I'm telling you, they are great people, and yeah, you've said as much. But the deal is, and if I can just shamelessly plug my recent Substack article that I wrote about the authority that we have as Border Patrol agents, 287 and 235. If people just read that, they can understand. And then when you get into the nuts and bolts of it, like when you see the charges that we have, like for 8 USC 1325, it states clearly there, anywhere, anytime. So, like you said, people see Border Patrol. What are they doing out of the border? And even I'm probably going to get a little bit ahead here, Gil, but Tom Homan yesterday on his presser, he said that ICE helped Border Patrol during the 4-year reign of Biden and the disorder that was down there. So now they're helping us. No, we're doing what we're helping them. Yes, of course, but we're authorized to be there. It's not like we're there in a support role. We can be there and we can determine alienage. We can arrest people for immigration violations. We somehow people think that ICE is the only people that can do interior enforcement. Please understand, people that are Border Patrol agents know what I'm talking about, but people that are just tune in to your podcast, Gil, that don't quite understand that. No, just because the name border is in our title, it doesn't mean that that's where we're constrained, that we're restrained there. No, we can do anywhere in the United States.
But the thing is that we haven't seen a Bovino type of enforcement in the cities, neighborhoods, and communities in
been a while.
decades, 40 years at best. Because again, the conventional wisdom was, I think Chief Aguilar called it, humble dignity. Everybody basically said, we're going to turn a blind eye to the basic 1325. If you're here illegally, we're going to leave you alone pretty much. We're going to target. And so, this is a disaster of our own making. We basically, there's no fear of law enforcement, no fear of Border Patrol, no fear of immigration enforcement in the interior. And we condition an entire generation doesn't even know what the Border Patrol does. Well, I even had a guy yesterday was telling me, you can't throw Border Patrol out there. They're not qualified. We are the most qualified. We were, ICE didn't come till 2003, and God bless those guys. Don't get me wrong. I mean, there are some enforcement-minded crack individuals in ICE, but right now the standing order across ICE is they want nothing to do with your basic 1325. Nothing to do with that. So let's talk about the Bovino effect, okay? Well, we're not here to make defense for Bovino. It's done, it's gone, whatever, but we do need to analyze how this got started, how it went, and how what was the effect. And Joel, wouldn't you say that Greg Bovino took the pulse of immigration enforcement of America?
Oh, absolutely.
And then, so what's the results of that test? Then, what do you see as an effect of what Bovino did?
Well, it's what that does is puts our resolve to the test. Now that we've tested the pulse, because never in our wildest dreams, Gil, did we think that when Holman came in and as the border czar, we were all fired up about it, and Rodney Scott got in there. Never in our wildest dreams did we think that people would object to us going after criminal aliens and pedophiles and
Yeah.
rapists and gangbangers. Never,
Yep.
never did we think that there would be the blue-haired variety out there arguing this fact. Of course, you're always going to have white liberal women out there. They're very confused and so they're always going to be there, and beta males are always going to be there. Liberals from liberal cities are going to be there, but but the media is complacent in giving them a platform, and then they run with these stories that Border Patrol's not qualified to do this. No, we're very well trained in riot control. There, these and all kinds of things that are not anticipated. But to answer, to go straight to the point there, Gil, is that no, no, apparently we're not meeting the expectation. This caught us by surprise because
Absolutely.
if criminal aliens is an issue, I love that one clip. I don't know if you've seen it, Gil, where an ICE agent says, we're literally after a rapist right now, and you guys are supporting this, I'm so glad that. So it takes an ICE agent on the ground to give them the optics that this is something that Holman should have done a long time ago. Why did he let Bovino on the ground and then now he decides to talk to them? That's the
Well,
question.
but
I'm
he never
yeah.
did, Joel. He never did. And see,
It
that's the
was
thing
nobody
about it.
ever stood there in front of the cameras with another guy behind him, you know who, but that was never there. How come
Yeah.
it's there now?
Yeah.
Why are they now knights in shining armor? I just have a problem with that. I think we should have done that from the very beginning. Said, hey, we are going after criminals. What is the problem? Why are these authorities? You know,
Yeah.
one thing that Holman said yesterday, he goes, oh, we did talk. And we did agree that ICE has a right to exist. That has to be a concession. No, ICE is authorized legally and statutorily, and they have the authority to do what they're doing. Also, a lot of people don't know this, but they were added to the 280, 287 and 235 authority. They were added as officers because it's such a new agency, so they
Yes.
have the same legal authority that we have as Border Patrol agents.
Yeah.
So don't go over there and tell me that they've conceded to acknowledge them as an agency. Is that a win? Is that a victory? No.
Well, that's why
Our
Christine,
go ahead.
I said, that's why Christy Nome is in trouble right now. She's in trouble because she bypassed the institutional chain of command. She went past Michael Banks, she went past Rodney Scott, and she even bypassed Tom Homan to bring Bovino in, right? And execute a level. See, I thought enforcement peaked with Rodney Scott. I thought that was I on his coin it says the last enforcement chief until we all got gut punched by Greg Bovino, America collectively. Not only the citizens, not only the states, but even the Border Patrol, ICE, all saw what Bovino was doing and they're like, what the hell just hit us? They weren't prepared mentally, emotionally, whatever it was, to see what Bovino did. And so Christy Nome is going to lose her job. And she's going to probably lose it to Tom Homan because they never did work with her. They never wanted to work with him or Rodney Scott ever wanted to work with Christy Nome. And so Bovino was on his own. That's why we didn't see 20 other chiefs do the same thing. That's why we didn't see initially Banks or anybody run interference while he was on the ground. You know, they should have been out there tackling the governors and the mayors and everything else like that. Bovino should have been standing in the background while Tom Homan was talking, but that was never
Never happened.
there because Homan didn't want him out there. Rodney Scott did not want him out there, right? And could you imagine the missed opportunity if they had all been in agreement? But
if what's happening now would have happened when he was on the ground, would have
yeah,
been a great. Now, I don't want your viewers, Gil, to think that we're Greg Bovino fanboys and stuff. And let me be devil's advocate here. Let me provide a little bit of cover for Rodney Scott. You know, his job is really tough. I'm sure as commissioner, it's a lot more political, and it's possible that he didn't anticipate that the vitriol and hatred that we were going to get for getting criminals. I'll repeat that. Just getting criminals, rapists, gangbangers, that he didn't expect that maybe, and so I understand his hesitance in maybe supporting Bovino, who is grabbing
well, we
whoever
never
is
saw
out
him
there.
until we never saw him until a couple days ago.
Yeah, well, you know, the Border Patrol agents, anybody who's a Border Patrol agent, old school, or retired, and maybe some people that are still on and or older, they understand that there was times that you drive up, you see somebody, and you go, "Hey, how you doing?" And you know, you don't have to say, "Hey, where are you from?" Or let me see some ID. All you have to, hey, how you doing? And then the guy gets that look. We all know about Border Patrol agent, that look. Oh yeah, yeah. I just got me an illegal alien, and so it takes no probable cause, not even reasonable suspicion, to just talk. So there's nothing wrong with walking down the streets of Minneapolis. Hey, how you doing? And then the guy can't speak English or can't respond. It's like, hey, and then it's you raise it up to reasonable suspicion. You know, that is
Yep.
something we've done forever. I did interior patrol for many years in the mid to late '90s, and so that was all part of the job.
But you know, the thing about it is too, and you're absolutely correct. There's no doubt that in this administration, the job that Tom Homan has taken on and Rodney Scott has taken on in this is monumental. Monumental. Okay. In that, but Joel, at the same time, we have got an administration that is the most immigration enforcement minded administration since Teddy Roosevelt. We have carte blanche. We got the money. And so my question, and the question that is pissing everybody off is, okay, you know, granting the legendary status of Tom Homan, the legendary status of Rodney Scott, are they still the right men to take on this job? Because they have not ever done Bovino style enforcement. They have only done the last 40 years of that targeted, leave the regular illegal alien on the street alone, just go after, if you can't catch them on the border, then and they get past you, oh well, and let ICE. And then it wasn't until 2003 when we said, okay, well, ICE can start going to go get them. Okay. But even then, right now, ICE has a standing order not to pick up any basic 1325. Anybody that's just in the country here, present illegally, they don't want, the brass in ICE doesn't want anything to do with that. So Bovino took the pulse of America, and America said yes. And he was gaining traction. He was gaining popularity. In fact, he did eclipse Rodney Scott. He did eclipse Tom Homan. Was one of his other sins. But America is ready for that type of enforcement. And if they had had a Tom Homan standing there from the get-go doing what he did yesterday, if he had had a Rodney Scott, but see, and I'll end with this. We're being held hostage in America from the enforcement we voted for, Joel, because of inside entrenched institutionalized cronyism and believing that, putting the same wolves guarding the hen house over and over and over again is going to get us different results. And I just propose that it's a time for us to move on from the Rodney Scotts and the Tom Homans and put people inside, like a Bovino, who said, here's the philosophical difference. Bovino was asked, when is the job done? You remember what he said? When we catch every single one of them.
When we catch every single one, yeah.
When Tom Homan was asked, when is the job done? What did he say?
When the Minneapolis officials cooperate or something to that extent.
Yeah. When they agreed to, and he promised America yesterday, if the states cooperate with detainers, we will remove ICE and Border Patrol from the neighborhoods and cities. Okay. So now we're back to where we were Biden years, picking up targets, picking up targeted, and now the millions upon millions upon millions of those criminal illegal aliens walking the streets freely with impunity now are we're back to square one. Yes or no?
I agree. I agree with you, Gil. But let me just be a moderate voice here. And I'm no liberal.
I know you're not.
And I'm just trying to think because Rodney's a good dude, and
Yes,
so is Tom
that's
Homan.
never in
They
question.
they are great. That goes without saying. I know you mean that as well. But is it possible that they took the temperature and saw what became of this, and maybe are let's pace ourselves instead of ripping the band-aid off? Is that possible, Gil? Do you think that's maybe? I don't know. I'm just asking because I know what you're getting at, and what you're getting at is that we are pissing away a great opportunity.
Yes. Yes. Well, and that's the state, right? We've already ripped the band-aid off. America said we do want that Bovino style enforcement. If they had seen agreement across the board, and that would have been, and yes, maybe the ratio of how many aliens you arrested compared to what's going on, that might have been a debatable point, but somehow Greg Bovino did become an American icon of law and order, of immigration enforcement, and he was gaining and gaining and gaining traction, and this was a chance to reinstate to America what immigration enforcement looks like after all these decades. After
Yeah.
all these decades, and we have 3 years. In the next administration, we may end up back, to another Democrat administration, which will not only reverse everything Trump's done, but they will triple and 100% go double down on what Biden did before. And not only that, they'll go after every single one of us that that supported ICE, Border Patrol, and everything else like that. But we have one singular opportunity here to come out guns blazing. And so while I would have agreed with saying, okay, we're going to scale back Bovino, send them to another place where there's not all, because so it was only one place in America. This was not a grassroots effort that came against Bovino and his tactics. That was not a grassroots effort. The entirety of it was funded, coordinated, and even in Minnesota, it became a militia. So we had an opportunity here to build on that, but I feel yesterday's conference just kind of backtracked us. And did they end up, now that Bovino's out, and then Tom is promising to remove ICE if they cooperate? Have the riots ended? Have the protests stopped?
Well, and also have the Minneapolis or Minnesota official, state and local officials, have they changed their ways? No, they still don't want ICE there. They still, sure, they acknowledge that ICE should exist. Come on, man. That's the concessions that I just think that we need to be a little more hard nosed. I agree with you on that. That we do need to be a little hard nosed, and Tom did say the right things, but I just think that uh, we don't, you do not cave on when you are right. When the truth is on your side, Gil, there is no need to apologize or offer concessions. When you're in the right, there is no way you have. Let me give you an example, and this will raise some eyebrows. Since when are you allowed to usurp federal law in a certain municipality? Let me give you an example. Let's just say the Tupelo, Mississippi. They decide, hey, no, blacks are no longer welcome in public schools again. I know that's the federal law, but they're not. Can they do that? No, they can't. You can't just decide that you're not going to follow federal law, or else you're going to pay the price, and dearly. So why are we allowing it on immigration? Why are we always conceding that? And then
Yeah.
when you have somebody who's hard nosed like Bovino, who comes and says, "This is the law.
We're going to
we're
enforce it
gonna
across the
enforce,"
board
uh,
regardless.
and then now he's a villain, and now you need a knight in shining armor to come up and hold a press conference when he should have done it from the very beginning. That's the problem I have. I love what he's saying. I love what Tom Holman is saying, but I just don't. I just think that he should have done that from the very beginning, man. And I don't like the even McCarthy, the former speaker, is was on Fox News, and it's on Breitbart this morning about how the voice of reason is now come. How he's saying the same thing, but he's just saying it now.
Yeah.
Don't send off a awesome warrior in shame and call yourself a knight in shining armor. No, you need to stand by and say, no, this is the law. It's always been the law. We're going to enforce the law, and nobody's off the table. We're going to do targeted, and then we're going to go after anybody. If you say that you're living in the shadows, well, maybe you should be back in your country if that's the problem. We
Yeah.
need to be. Remember, this is not being right wing. This is just simple law. I've
This is
always
something
been
that
about the
Obama
law.
enforced, that Clinton enforced, all
And now
these
it's an
things that
issue.
they said. And now it's an issue. Yeah. But that's the thing, Joel, is that, is there any teeth? I mean, do we really, expect at this point that he's going to make, I mean, what's going to be the mechanism? So he says, okay, let's prioritize the targets first. Okay. Well, we've been doing that for decades. We've been prioritizing the targets for decades. And
That goes
America
without. Oh, yeah, well, that goes without saying.
and America's just got a taste of what it's like to see immigration enforcement on the ground. And I'll tell you, by all measures, it was gaining ground. But the problem again is that entrenched cronyism and institutionalized thinking that got us here. How do we expect the same things that got us here to get us into the future? I just believe that it's time to move on. It's time to stop allowing the same people to keep running playing musical chairs in DC with the same positions, giving us the same thing over and over and over again. And that's not and since they're not retired, they're out there right now, then we can, as taxpayers, never mind retired border patrol, okay, because we don't have the rank and experience and the gravitas to question God's anointed. But man, we got to see the difference. The approach of, we're going to catch them all, to, oh, we're gonna target and blah blah blah, because unless I would trade this body armor enforcement for briefcase enforcement. You come out tomorrow and say, from this point on, there's going to be ICE agents at the social services, at the schools, at the checking for to make sure you're an American citizen, or verify whatever it is, employment sanctions, employment audits. I would gladly trade interior enforcement for that, because that will eliminate just about everything right there. But we're not even seeing that yet.
Employment sanctions is a bad word now for both parties. You know that. And the reason why, and remember, when IRCA was passed in 1986, it became illegal to employ illegal aliens, and that was the concession that Ronald Reagan gave up in order. That's what Ronald Reagan had put in there in order to give amnesty to all those millions of people back then. But as usually happens, they don't enforce it. And then now we have another 11 million. And then now you're talking every 10 years, there's another amnesty, talk of another amnesty, instead of enforcing the law. But see, these laws still exist. They're still in the books. We just don't implement them. Now,
Right.
to get back to what you were saying is about the same cronies and same stuff. What we need to do is change the culture as to how we think. And the way we think is to always go back to the law that you learned at the academy, the law that is still in the books, anywhere, anytime.
This concludes part 1 of my epic episode with Joel Maldonado. Please join us for episode 2 very soon. For real talk and updates, follow Old Patrol HQ on Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, Rumble, and Substack. Do not miss an episode. Honor first, honor always, or no honor at all.